Hey, boa noite, which is what it is right now. Good night to you on the Good Morning Portugal podcast. This is episode 19, and it's great to be here. I've completed 3 weeks on Monday, and our formula, if you haven't heard it before, is a few bits of vocabulary, a little bit of Portuguese culture, related generally to our adventure that we're having, the Munson family here in Portugal. Carl Munson here, and with wife Louisa on this journey, and our 2 kids and a third one on the way. And therein lies a few podcasts in their own right, with having a baby, conceiving and having a child. Probably won't go too much into the conceiving of a child in Portugal. You probably know how that works. But the whole business of hospitals and childbirth and midwifery and all that sort of stuff. We'll probably have something to say about that in due course. But today we are looking at the seasons, because I understand tomorrow it is the official start of autumn. I'm looking at the Portugal News, Portugal's national newspaper in English. If you can't face immersing yourself completely in Portuguese media, this is quite a good lifeline occasionally. Actually, the Portugal News, Portugal's national newspaper in English, the article, I'm reading from Facebook actually, so you can check it out on Facebook, but they do a print version, which I think is generally the epicenter of that is in the Algarve, understandably. But they say autumn officially arrives this weekend, and I'll read you more of that after we've done our words for today, which will be, let's have a look, here we go. These are the seasons for you, okay?
Inverno, primavera, verão.
I think I might have to turn that up a bit. The lady from Google Translate. One more time, please.
Outono, inverno, primavera, verão.
Outono, inverno, primavera, and verão. So obviously autumn is outono, and inverno is winter. Primavera, pretty obvious to guess, is spring, and summer is verão. So let's go back to that article from the Portugal News. Autumn officially arrives this weekend. The weather might still be summery and hot, but this weekend is officially the start of autumn, the September equinox. And Mrs. Munson knows a lot about that because she is an astrologer, and she is actually doing really well, getting a lot of readings. She's lucky enough to be working online, and she does her astrological readings online, records an MP3 and sends it to her clients. So it's a particularly important time in this household. The September equinox, also known as the start of autumn this year, moves in during the early hours of Sunday morning, according to the Portugal News, and I'm sure according to many sources, at approximately 2:54 a.m, so just before 3 in the morning, tomorrow morning, Sunday. Even though it may be autumn next week, it is still looking decidedly hot and summery, with temperatures across Portugal varying between the mid-20s in the north, where we are, and to the low 30s in the south. So how about that? It may be autumn, and a friend of mine, Chris, thank you for your text earlier today. Chris, my friend Chris Norton from Phonic FM stays in touch, and he was asking me how it was going in autumn, to which I cheekily replied, autumn? What autumn? And he said, kick in. It will kick in, mark my words. Well, no sign of that yet. Also, I suppose, to be fair, I'm sat out here Saturday night. It's lovely. The sun is setting. We've had a high of 37 degrees down the road in Tamar, which isn't very autumnal, isn't it, by British standards? But it is getting a little bit chillier in the evenings and at night, and that's a welcome relief in many ways compared to some of the really hot weather we've been having. But interestingly, it seems to be climate change, and you know the reasons for that we don't need to go into right now. But personally, I think we see the humans having a big effect, and some of the things we're doing that might be having an effect, we could probably be better off doing without anyway, whether it is affecting the weather. But the Portuguese, I've been here for a year. This is our first week of our second year. And when we were in Lisbon, near Lisbon last year, the neighbour of one of the places we were staying in, he was really shocked. His life was miserable, actually, with really hot summer weather and very cold winter weather. And also like kind of displaced seasons, like seasons as you wouldn't recognise them. And a lot of people say this, don't they? It's the seasons they don't recognise from their childhoods. It's just very different, the weather and climate patterns. So it's happening here in Portugal as well. So those are your words today: outono, inverno, primavera e verão. Hola, boa tarde, and we will see you again tomorrow.